thanks for being a part of the call today. Obviously, first practice is in the books. Head coach of the Flames, Hugh, is with us. We'll be joined shortly as well by Flames quarterback Malik Willis and safety Javon Scruggs. But, Coach, we'll start with you if you want to kind of give us your thoughts on the first practice and just how excited you are to being back, and we'll take some questions.
Well, first, it's so exciting to be back at it, and started last night with our first team meeting. We had Eric Thomas, ET, in, and it was an incredible night for us. And what a guy he is, and his message is so relevant for young men today and old men like myself. And it's a special friendship that I think we've kind of started, and look forward to having him back. But I thought everything went really well last night, and all our families at dinner was nice to see. And then obviously getting to get on the field this morning was we as coaches don't ever need to forget the blessing we have to be able to work with young men in this great game. And for me, it's even special to do it at a place like Liberty. And I loved our prep this morning. Once practice got started, I thought, I think Dom and his staff, one of my first thoughts that I wrote down is I think that they've done a nice job. Our bodies look good, and we move pretty well. I think we have a chance to have some decent depth if we can stay healthy, and so that was really one of my first thoughts. And then as practice progressed, I thought the biggest issue that we had today that we've got to change is I did not do a great job of making sure our transitions were smooth and quickly done. So I've got to get our coaches right on that. And number two, we've got to quit dropping the football. And our receivers cannot do that. And we had way too many today for it to be okay. It's not okay. And so other than that, I thought, we're no pads, and it was teach tempo, but I thought we moved around well. And once the drills got started, and it wasn't the kids' fault that they didn't get started like I wanted in about 3 cases, but that's my fault and our coach's fault. But probably a highlight of the day for me was our young specialist, our young long snapper, Austin, and them 2 dang kickers. They were Nick and Braden and those guys, and they were pretty dang impressive for day one. So I know there's a lot of people out there that are looking for kickers and stuff. I feel very, very blessed. I think we've got a few.
Thank you, Coach. We'll take some questions here in just a moment. I've got one for you to kind of start off, though, just from a macro point of view. You come into this season after having so much success last year, and you hear coaches talk about teams, preseason. They want to hear them talk about eliminating distractions and focusing on winning a championship. Obviously, not being in a conference, there's no championship, but there are things to play for. I guess what I'm trying to ask is, how do you put that in perspective for your team? What is the goal for them this season after what they've done the last 2 years?
Yeah, I don't do goals, and I've always said that I don't put goals out there. And the longer I've been living the life I live, and coaching and husbanding and fathering, and when you go through the peaks and the valleys and all of those things, I think the secret to having the success that you want is chasing a standard. And we clearly identify what the standard is for us and what it should look like as players, students, as a man, as a friend. What is the standard and what should it look like? And then the more percentage of time in a given day that we chase that standard effectively, the chances of you having, quote, the success that you want at the end of the day is greater. And I don't know who can argue with that, and I think that is the secret to us going back out this year. And I've always said, I have 10 wins last year. What a great year. None of that really matters for this year. It's a different team. It's a different DNA. But But what does matter is how effectively we chase the standard. And again, I don't know, 7 wins this year, 6 wins this year may equate to 10 last year. You never know with the difference in scheduling that we have here, how that really looks at the end of the year. But we're excited to chase that standard and see what the results come. If you're always just result-driven and oriented, it's very difficult to continue playing the next play and doing it with the same enthusiasm and same energy as you did the last, unless you've just, created in yourself this drive to just, chase a standard on every given moment and look yourself in the mirror at the end of the day and be honest with yourself and evaluating how well you chased the standard today in all the different areas of your life. And most of my life when I've answered that question that I chased it well, I've kind of liked the results too, most of the time. And that doesn't guarantee that you're going to win. It doesn't guarantee, but I think it brings a peace that comes with whatever area of life you're in. So I know it's a long way around to answering your question, but the truth is we hadn't talked 1 minute about what the goal is other than today, did we chase the standard well?
Thank you, Coach. So next up, let's go to Damian Sorrell from the Lynchburg News in Advance.
Hugh, I want to ask probably your favorite question you had to deal with last year was dealing with testing and the pandemic. And I know the NCAA has been released guidelines for testing this year. If you're vaccinated, you don't have to test. Unvaccinated looks like 2 to 3 times a week. How's that been going for the program, and how are those guys looking in terms of testing numbers and vaccinations, and being able to get back to a normalcy for a college football season?
Yeah, the first thing I would say to you, Damien, is, man, I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that we can return to some normalcy. Truthfully, all signs right now are a little iffy to me on what the season is really going to look like, and I'm going to certainly pray and keep my fingers crossed that it can have a sense of normalcy for both teams and fans. But, man, I don't understand. There's so much information out there. I don't understand exactly what's real, what's not. I know that obviously this virus has certainly affected a lot of people, and I hope that it can get contained, and whether that's through numbers of vaccinations that help with it. But then you see people that are vaccinated are testing positive also. So, man, I'm a football coach, and I'm going to control what we can control here, and we'll obviously abide by whatever testing rules for the unvaccinated, and hopefully that the vaccinated stay healthy also, and that we can have a nice season for all to enjoy. But, man, I think there's a lot of unknowns right now, to be perfectly candid, as to where exactly, not just football, but where are we as communities and as a country in dealing with it. And I'm certainly not I don't have the knowledge to be able to quantify where we are exactly, but we've been fortunate here to stay healthy. Even the ones who tested positive, we've been fortunate that they did not experience severe illness of any type, so we're thankful for that, and hopefully that will continue.
All right, well, next up, let's go to Emily Austin, and we'll get to John.
Coach, have you learned anything specific? How the hype on day one early in camp, and then it kind of trickles down day by day when the grind starts wearing on these guys. Is there something you've learned in your coaching career to maintain that hype and keep the guys fresh?
Yeah, I think it depends on your team first. If you're a team that has some experience on it, like I think ours does, particularly with the number of COVID seniors that we have returning, you certainly. I don't think that we have to get. If I'm going to put some number out there, and certainly it's not the right number, but let's say that a normal fall camp is 80 reps for your ones. I don't think you have to grind on the number of reps. They need to be quality, and they need to be the standard to which you expect. But, I mean, those kids have played a lot of football for me and our staff in 2 years, whereas the more of the reps need to be on those younger kids. And so I think that helps with them both mentally and physically, knowing, hey, man, Coach believes in us, he trusts in us, he's not grinding us. Certainly there may be some extra conditioning that Dom and his staff have to do with them to make sure they're ready for the 80-play game or whatever it is that we expect to have. But, I think that's part of it is dealing with your team according to what your experience level is. And then secondly, just, making sure that they understand all the way through the grind that there's more to this journey that we're going through, even though it seems like it's all about ball on the field, but making sure they understand that this actually is part of the process that's developing you into to the man you're going to be one day. And we try to do some extra things within our team room setting to do that, and lean on your nutritionist a lot to keep them fed right and hydrated, and your strength staff to judge with all the apparatuses they have now, kind of where you're at, and the heat index, and talking to your trainer. And you just got to, I think through the years I've been able to have enough experience that I can kind of have a pulse for some of that. But, the main thing probably is the fact that we have a somewhat experienced team, and so, it's more important to me the quality of the rep than the quantity of it for them.
All right, next we'll go to John Manson from the Sea of Red.
Hey, Coach, it's been talked a lot about and will continue to be talked a lot about all the returners you have from last year's team, a lot of starters, a lot of production returning, but you've also brought in a talented group of transfers and guys that have played at higher levels or other FBS levels that have played there as well. How do you manage those two dynamics with a lot of returners coming back, a lot of talented transfers that are hoping and wanting to play, and kind of managing their expectations for their own playing time?
Yeah, I'm really transparent with this is our team. This is not it's not last year's team. It's this year's team, and whether you're a transfer on it, a newcomer, or a guy that's been here 4 years, we're all a part, equal parts of the team. Some have different giftings and all of that, and we understand that. But once we say this is this year's team that hits on the field, we're going to play the ones that earn it and that are producing the best standard over the period of this camp and throughout the season. And I know no other way to do it, and wouldn't want a coach that does it any other way. And the kids that respond to that correctly and can honestly look at the film of themselves and understand what's going on, and that's hard for them, because some expect it to be just like last year or the year before, and you know what? I'm always trying to out-recruit you. I'm always trying to find the next class, and that's what I owe to this program, and our staff owes to this program. And that doesn't mean, I wish everybody on this roster could play the number of snaps they wanted to, but ultimately, this is this year's team, so I do not look at it as a transfer group over here and a returning group over here. I want to go look at the film this afternoon. Let's see who graded the best and who performed the best.
Got time for two more. We'll go to Anthony Romano from WDBJ, and then we'll wrap up with one more.
Hey, Coach, good to see you again.
You too.
Forgive me if somebody asked something similar already, but have you kind of in the offseason allowed yourself to sort of reflect on the success that you guys have had as a program over the last couple of years? And is it fair to say that, I don't know, maybe the expectations for what makes a successful Liberty football season has now changed because of that success?
Oh, it hadn't changed in my eyes. I'm quite certain that media or people in general, fans, boosters, maybe, I don't know, I would love to hear, how you quantify, the expectations, because again, like I said earlier, it's just, to me, it's about chasing a standard, and I don't know what the results will say at the end of the season, particularly when you're an independent school. I mean, if we were in a conference or something, I could put some things on it for you that I think would reveal whether or not we, in our minds, were successful. But when you're every year playing a different schedule of different strengths, and to me, I think it's important that our program is competitive, and that we are putting ourselves in positions to go to bowl games right now. And we've been able to do that the first 2 years, which has increased everyone's expectation of that happening again. And I'm okay with that. But the only way I know to achieve those expectations is just that we win today by the way we chase, our standard of how we prepare and how we practice and how we go to meetings and how we go to dinner and how we go to lunch and training room. And that's the only way I know to accomplish whatever expectations that may or may not be there.
All right, last one, Damien. Go ahead and wrap us up.
All right, Hugh, a couple from roster notes. I know JJ Holloman had enrolled earlier in the summer and participated in some workouts over the summer, but he's not on the roster. Do you have an update on, what his status may be in giving you a bona fide outside receiver?
Yeah, that unfortunately, that's not going to happen here for us in JJ. I think he's man. I wish him all the best. I really can't comment much on that, but it's just he and FIU have got to whatever's going on between those two, they've got to that's between them, and I really can't comment on it.